Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef, and today I'm going to share my most favorite part of the day with you. How many of you are coffee drinkers? I know I can't see you raising your hands, but I would love to hear it in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and if this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, please hit the subscribe button while you're here, and also go to theflipflopchef.com. Click the button at the top of that page and join my recipe community. I have thousands of recipes, including lots of coffee recipes, giveaways, and occasionally I offer some discounts there too. So thank you guys for joining me today. I want to talk to you about cold brew coffee because I love coffee. As a twin mom who runs a business, I do drink a lot of coffee, and I happen to know how to make the best cold brew coffee. So I'm going to give you a few different choices today. I do drink some hot coffee, but I drink mostly cold brew coffee, and that's because I have a bladder condition, interstitial cystitis, IC. Some of you guys watching may also have that. And a few years ago, I really struggled for several years with dealing with that bladder pain. And one of my realizations was the acidity in hot coffee had a lot to do with it. And so I totally switched gears. I found out that cold brew coffee is way less acidic, and I didn't have the issues drinking cold brew that I did drinking hot brew. Now I've let my bladder heal some, and I can drink hot coffee occasionally. So sorry if that's TMI, but that's really what caused me to switch from hot brewed coffee to cold brew. So before I tell you about Pampered Chef's new cold brew pitcher, let me tell you a couple other things you need to know about cold brew coffee. A lot of people think cold brew and iced coffee are the same thing. They are nothing like each other. So if you've ever bought a cold brew coffee from a coffee shop, then you know you're paying more for that cold brew coffee than you are for an iced coffee. The reason that you pay more for cold brew is because it takes a lot longer to make. Most cold brew is going to be brewed cold for 12 to 24 hours. The longer it brews, the stronger it's going to be, but you can't just make cold brew in a hurry unless you're buying a cold brew concentrate K-cup, which they do sell those, and then you can pop it in the deluxe coffee machine, but that's using a liquid concentrate. So I'm going to show you how to make a liquid concentrate in here today, but iced coffee, so that you know the difference. Iced coffee is brewed hot, just like hot coffee. The difference is it's either brewed over ice or it's brewed hot and refrigerated to make cold and then served over ice. The thing about cold brew is it has never been brewed hot, but the cool thing is you can brew it cold and heat it up in the microwave and drink it hot, and it doesn't change the acidity when you're using cold brew coffee. So that was a whole lot of education about coffee before we even talk about the product. So don't forget to let me know where you're watching from, and let's go ahead and get started here. So this is Pampered Chef's brand new cold brew pitcher. If you're wondering why we have a new cold brew pitcher, it's just because the vendor that made the previous version for us stopped making it, and we had to find someone new. So let me show you all the great things about this, and I actually like this one better, so I think you're gonna like it too. First thing, it has a thicker glass than our previous version, so I know that was a concern for some people. The other cool thing is it has this little silicone base. So this has a couple of benefits. First of all, it keeps you from banging this on the countertop by accident when you're setting it down, so it gives you a little bit extra protection for the glass. But if you're brewing something hot in here, it also kind of works as a trivet. So you can use this for hot beverages too, even though it's a cold brew pitcher, okay? So a couple of things. This little piece on the top, you just pull this off, and inside is the filter. You can use this filter for coffee, fruit, tea. I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head, but those are the three main things that you can use it for. And then this is the other part of the lid. Now, if you're not brewing something in here and you just want to use this as a serving pitcher, you can just leave that insert out and put this top on, and you can just serve right from this. So this will also go right in the refrigerator. But let's make some cold brew coffee, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the options that you have available to you that you're not making at home, and we'll compare some costs, prices for that. So this is the filter, and what we need to do is we need to add about a cup of coffee grounds to this. And I didn't get a measuring cup out, but that's okay. I have done this enough times that I'm just gonna guess. But if you wanna measure it out, you can. I am gonna be using Cafe Bustelo coffee, We're gonna talk a little bit more about this in a little while, but this is my favorite coffee for cold brew. And the reason that is it's an espresso ground coffee, so it's super fine. One of my favorite coffee recipes to make is a Vietnamese cold brew coffee. Be sure to check my channel so that you can find videos using our older version cold brew pitcher. Eventually, I'm sure I'll record a new version making that. But it is a cold brew coffee recipe. I learned how to make this from a lady who was, I believe, hopefully I'm not saying this wrong, I believe she was demonstrating this at the Pinterest conference. I don't know what the Pinterest conference is called. Pinnet? I don't remember. But she was with Williams-Sonoma or Cook's Warehouse. I don't remember. But she taught me how to make Vietnamese coffee, and it uses cold brew coffee. So you have to brew the coffee first, which I brew mine for 24 hours. So that's about a cup. And if you have our old make and take mason jars, we don't sell these anymore, at least not at the time of this recording. I love these because it's the perfect size for a brick of Cafe Bustelo. All right, so Vietnamese cold brew. I don't want to get sidetracked here. Vietnamese cold brew is cold brew coffee concentrate. So it's basically you're going to add some water to it because it's such a concentrated flavor with sweetened condensed milk. I wanted to say the wrong thing, so I had to think about that. Sweetened condensed milk, and I use whole milk usually when I make that. And let me tell you, it's amazing. And my mom has always said if anything with sweetened condensed milk in it is going to taste amazing, and she is right. All right, so we got about a cup of the coffee grounds in here. I do recommend using a fine ground coffee for this recipe, and you want to add 5 cups of water. Now, you'll have to pour slowly because that filter has super fine holes, so it does take a little bit of time for it to go through, and you don't want it to bubble over the top. So you're gonna just pour slowly. I have 4 cups in this measuring cup, and I'll do 1 more cup when I am done with this. And then I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it sit for 24 hours. After 24 hours, I can use it as a cold brew concentrate, either to make a cup of cold brew, or I can use it to make that Vietnamese coffee, which is delicious. And with that Vietnamese coffee, you could also add vodka to that to make like a Vietnamese cold brew martini. You could choose your liqueur if you don't like vodka, but that's just one suggestion that I was given at that conference, the Pinterest conference that I went to. This is so many years ago. But honestly, it was the best cold brew coffee I ever had, and I have been making it for years ever since. But we know sweetened condensed milk has a lot of sugar in it, so if you are wanting to watch that, then it's not really the best thing to drink on a daily basis, but it is delicious. All right, so I'm going to pour a little bit more in here, and then I'm going to get 1 more cup of water, and then I will add that in here. Now, if you want to fill this completely full, you can, but you want to make sure you get at least 5 cups of water in there. I'll do this off camera just because it's taking a little bit of time for that to come through that filter. You can also use Pampered Chef's cold brew coffee. These, you get 6 of these in a packet here, and they look just like this. So it's basically coffee grounds inside of a filter. So you would take out the filter that comes with your cold brew pitcher, and you would put 2 of these bags into the pitcher, and you would add water. The directions say to add 4 cups of water, but you could certainly fill the pitcher to the top and have a little bit more coffee with it, or a little bit more volume to it. And I would recommend, again, brewing it for 12 to 24 hours. I brew all of my cold brew coffee for at least 24 hours. That's my goal. Now, this is the cold brew coffee from Pampered Chef. So I have a little bit of this left over, but let me show you what I made with this. So this is our silicone egg bite mold, and I took some of that cold brew coffee and I froze it in here. So I'm going to show you guys how to make the best cold brew ever. Now this has been sitting out a few minutes. I wanted it to sit out so that these will pop right out. I'm going to just see if I can gently drop these in here. I want to try to keep the jar, my glass, looking pretty, but I want to add 1 more. Let's add 1 more. It's all coffee, so it's not going to water it down. That's the really cool thing about using coffee for the ice cubes is it doesn't water down your coffee as it melts, as ice melts. So this is the silicone egg bite mold. I have other videos featuring that, so you can definitely check it out. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take the same cold brew and we're going to just pour it on the top. Now I'm going to make this the way I want it. So last week, my husband and I went on a staycation, and I can be kind of difficult when it comes to ordering food or coffee, because when you can cook good and you know what good food tastes like, it makes it hard for other people to cook for you. So my friends that know me well, I'm sure, are laughing as they're watching this, because they've all been with me in a restaurant and I ask lots of questions to make sure I get exactly what I want. But I went to this coffee shop. It's in Sarasota, Brew. So if anybody happens to be watching from Brew, I don't know the girl's name that worked that day, but she was amazing. Like, I told her I want a cold brew coffee, and told her what, I think I got almond flavoring that day. Or no, I'm sorry, they didn't have almond, it was caramel. And I said, but I like a lot of half and half. And so the first time ever somebody at a coffee shop took the time to ask me if the coffee was the color that I wanted it to be. And I was like, oh, you have my heart. Even if this coffee doesn't taste amazing, you cared enough to ask me if it was what I wanted. Because if I go to Starbucks, let me tell you, they don't care if I like the color of the coffee that they give me. They just give it to me and I have to deal with it. And I was just so pleased. So you see how much space I'm leaving for the milk. I'm gonna use half and half because that's what I like. You could use any milk of your choice, including alternative milks. We're gonna pour this in. Oh, doesn't it just look so pretty? There's just something satisfying about pouring this milk onto cold brew coffee. It's just a beautiful mixture there, right? And then I'm gonna add my favorite syrup, which I have in my oil and vinegar bottle here. I actually have one of these for coffee syrup, one for vanilla, and one for oil. I like this because I don't have to get a measuring spoon out every day. I like 3 teaspoons of seasoning, or flavoring, or 1 tablespoon. So I just fill this to that little rim, and then I just pour it in to my coffee. And I do this every day. Like, this is my favorite way to have coffee. And then I'm just gonna use a little swivel spoon to stir this around. And now I have, this is the best color for my coffee. So, so good. So I'm gonna enjoy drinking that when I finish recording this video. Pampered Chef, at the time of this video, we do still have the 3 coffee syrups. They're limited edition. So when they run out, they're gone, but this is the brown sugar. We also have limoncello and cherry almond. All of them are great. Now, let's talk a little bit more about cold brew options and how much things cost. So at Brew, no offense, but I paid over $7 for my cold brew coffee. But you know what? I was on a staycation. I wanted a cold brew coffee by the pool, and I walked right upstairs to the pool at the Art Ovation Hotel, and it was just such a delicious coffee, and I didn't mind spending the money. But I can't do that every day. I can't spend $7 on a coffee every single day. That's just crazy, and it's too expensive. So let's talk about some other options to give you some comparison to what you're gonna get if you make a full pot. So I haven't finished pouring the water in here. A full pot of your own cold brew coffee versus what you're gonna pay for the coffee in the store. So if I don't have my cold brew brewed, and sometimes I don't, because remember, it takes 24 hours. So this is my backup. If you've never tried this brand, I love this. This is stock cold brew. I don't like any of the ones that are sweetened because I add my own flavoring. But somebody's knocking on my door. I have a sign not to knock, but they are not reading that sign. So it kind of startled me, I apologize. But stock brand cold brew is what I like to use when I don't have my own when I don't have Cafe Bustelo brewed, because it takes 24 hours. I like the green and I like the brown. The brown is also unsweetened, and it's an espresso brew coffee. So it's a little bit bolder than this. I like them both, and they have a purple, and I can't remember what this one just says bold and smooth. I don't know what the other one says, but there's purple, green, and brown that have no sweetener in them, and I like all of them. So I kind of just kind of switch it around which one I'm going to get. But this one, this is what I keep as a backup, and this costs almost $6. So in comparison to that 1 cup of coffee at the local coffee shop, I was able to get a whole container. Of course, I have to factor in the cost of the milk and the cost of the syrup, but the bulk of the cost is going to be the coffee. So this is 48 ounces of coffee. So this is my backup cold brew. This is my favorite. So Cafe Bustelo, and yes, this is the party size because, I mean, come on, Cafe Bustelo has the best coffee. So let's give you some pricing here. So it's actually cheaper to buy the smaller one than the party size. It didn't used to be that way. These used to be about $20 for the 36 ounce. So it's 2 pounds, 4 ounces. These used to be $20. They're actually about $15 now at most places. I think Walmart is just under 15. I think Target is about 16 or 17, but around $15. But if you go to Aldi, so if you shop at Aldi, which is where I love to shop the most, you get a 10-ounce package for $3.85. I can't remember what the price per ounce was, but it was 30-something cents per ounce for cafe for this one, and it was like 44-something cents per ounce if you bought the bigger one. So it's still cheaper to buy this. Now, I don't love these vacuum sealed containers because you can't really reseal these well. So I just cut it open and I put it in my make and take mason jar, or you can dump it in this container. So either way is fine. So Cafe Bustelo, my first choice for coffee, and stock cold brew is my backup that I have in the fridge. And of course, Pampered Chef's new cold brew coffee pouches. If you don't want to deal with filters and you don't want to deal with storage containers, this is a great option because you just put 2 bags in the water and you just let it brew. So any questions? Be sure to leave them in the comments. I covered a ton of information in just like a really, really short period of time. I'm gonna add more water to my cold brew, and I'm actually gonna fill this all the way to the top, but you wanna do at least 5 cups of water to your 1 cup of Cafe Bustelo, and put this in the fridge for 24 hours. Make sure you go to my recipe community and look up Vietnamese cold brew coffee because it is just, it's the best. You just need coffee, milk, and sweetened condensed milk. That is it, and you will thank me because it is just delicious. So I hope you guys have a great afternoon. I'm going to enjoy this coffee and keep recording because I have a day to record in the kitchen. So stay tuned for more. See you soon.